Southern Comfort here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to amend your containers. These containers here had vegetables into them, so they've now gotten out. They've been empty for about 2 weeks, and I noticed that as the plants was growing, they wasn't getting all the nutrients they could get, so they didn't produce as big as I want them to do. So since all the vegetables are out, now it's time to amend. So the first thing I'm going to do is start over here in these containers over here. They're huge containers, and you see that I got my fertilizer down there, and I'm going to show you what I use into my containers. Okay, the first thing I want to do, since this soil has had collards into it, this is my homemade potting soil. It came from a brush pile that's just limbs and stuff that was pushed up into a pile. It took a couple years so it would break down, and now I have made homemade potting soil. So what I do is I go and get the tractor, I get a load of this dirt here, but it needs to be amended. Every time, that I do that, I need to amend it. But I did notice I must not put enough in there. Now, one of the things I did put in there, and I'm going to show you, so I got this all mixed up real good. There's roots in here. I'm not going to dump this out. I'm just going to break those roots up and let them decompose. So, one of the things that I did use is something like this. I put Miracle Grow in there. It was in a green container. This is organic. I got it at a good deal for $5.99, so yeah, I picked it up. So I put some of that in there. There's a little green specks in there, and I can get it up out of dirt. There's a little green specks in there, and that did pretty good, but my plants was not doing exactly what I need them to do. So that's telling me that what I need to do is put some garden lime in there. Garden lime gets the pH up. You need to check your pH just in case you don't need garden lime, but it gets your pH up. So I'm just going to sprinkle some of that in there. So I got my garden lime in there. The next thing I'm going to be using is bone meal. This is all natural plant food. It's organic. I just made a video on how to make your homemade bone meal. I do notice in here there's little pieces of bone into it, just like it was in mine, except mine was a lot browner. And that means it's going to take a little bit to break down. That's fine, because as it's going to rain or as I'm watering it, all these nutrients are going to go to the rest of the soil in this container. So I'm going to put some bone meal in there, and I'm probably putting about maybe about a fourth of a cup. So we got our bone meal in there, but since it's going to take a while for this to break down, and I'm planning on getting some plants in here soon, as I'm going to be using super phosphate. This has 0 nitrogen. It's got its phosphate into it, and it's got some good minerals into it. So that's 18%. And I know some of you think, well, gosh, that's a lot. Well, I am amending this soil here because my plants was not doing it as much. They started taking off, but you want your plants to take off and grow to the fullness. So I got some phosphate in there. Now the bone meal has phosphate, but once again, this is organic. Organic takes a little bit to break down. Once again, it has little bone particles in there, and so that's going to take a little bit to break down, which is great because it'll keep some nutrients into this soil here. So the next thing I'm going to be using is blood meal. Blood meal is high in nitrogen. This is 14%. Now it is organic, but I've never had any complaints with blood meal. It doesn't, to me, seem to take very long to work, and so I like the blood meal. It seems like when the plant is fixing to put out its fruit, then I start seeing some results. But I am amending this soil not for just now, but also for the future. So I got my blood meal in there. The next thing I'm going to be using is azomite. You can get azomite off of Amazon. Azomite. A-Z-O-M-I-T-E. Azomite is a good mineral. And so this is adding to the soil. Well, those plants have took out nutrients out of this soil, now I'm adding back to the soil. So I'm just going to sprinkle it around in there. This is a heavy bag. How much? It's probably a little over a fourth of a cup. I'm just sprinkling around there. This is a huge container. So we got our garden lime. We got our bone meal. We that bone meal is organic. We also put in some phosphate to go ahead and work. We put some blood meal that's going to work, but it's also going to work into the future. And we got our azomite in there, good trace minerals, good minerals in there. I think it's around 60 or somewhere around. It's got a lot of minerals into it. And I'm also going to be using this tomato and vegetable garden food. This is 12-10-5. 12-10-5. This is good for, it helps with the calcium, like for tomatoes, keep them from splitting, and blossom end rot. It says it produces quality tomatoes and vegetables, money back guarantee. So it doesn't say it's organic on here, but this does say it feeds up to 3 months. So I want to go ahead and so what I'm doing here is I'm putting some fertilizer in here. It's going to work as I put these plants in, and some that's going to gradually deteriorate and then work as they grow continuously, and also amend this soil for the future. So we got that in there. Mind you, I don't have any plants to put in here yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to put, but I do need to get this soil amended here, and so that it'll be ready. Because we got some rains coming in a couple of days, and that's going to help. I don't have to water it. It's going to wash these nutrients further down in this container. So as time goes on, when I'm still planting in this container, of course, eventually I'll have to add some soil, but the nutrients will still, it'll be in this container. At least some of it, majority of it will be. So when I'm mixing it up, you're always amending, you're always adding, because the vegetables are always taken out. So we got that really mended up, and I'm just going to do this to the rest of my containers. And this container right here is ready. It's ready for planting. All these little sticks here is going to break down. Look at that. Potting soil, potting mix. So now, and I don't have to add any soil into this right now. The thing about when you cultivate it like this, then you're fluffing up that soil so that the plants will get some good irrigation to the roots. And that's it. That's how I'm going to mend all of my containers. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you on to the next video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.